Hello, I'm Corey Watson, running for City Council, District B.
Mr. Watson, how are you?
I'm fine, and you, man?
Wonderful, man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Good. On behalf of myself, Anthony Patton, and NewOrleansBlack.com, and the 60,000 people in our email database that will be checking us out, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and all the social network sites, we thank you for your time.
Thank you, and thank you everyone who's watching.
Good stuff. We're excited about this, and we really just want this to be a conversation.
Yeah.
There's folks out there that may be seeing you for the first time. Some people may know you and know a lot of the work you've been doing in the community for a while. But if we could, let's start at the very beginning. Take us back to Corey Watson, the baby, and bring us to the current Corey. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm Corey Watson. I was born in poverty, born to some young parents, and began to work myself up by getting educated as my community asked me to. Went to McDonald 35 Senior High School. Got an opportunity to go to college. Went on to Tulane University, Xavier University, and I got my engineering degree from Tulane, physics degree from Xavier, and now I'm working as an engineer, working as a pastor, also working as a husband of 11 years. 2 children, Lillian and Corey. My wife is Melissa. And I'm just really about the community that I grew up in.
I got you. Well, tell us a little bit about that engineering background. So what was the specific engineering field?
Electrical engineering.
Okay.
I got an opportunity just to talk about right after Katrina. I'll fast forward. Because actually in New Orleans I had an opportunity to work here, but it took a while. It took about almost 8 months after graduating.
Okay.
I was working in the gift shop at the Marriott Hotel, and I just kept bagging and, giving people what they needed to get in New Orleans. And then I decided after to get into my career once I got the opportunity. So right after Katrina, I worked with a team to set up an office in Texas, an office in Louisiana, and we began to work on the recovery.
Yes,
I helped Xavier stand up, Dillard stand up, University, helped the Custom House where we have the insectarium stand up.
Sure.
And man, the list goes on and on. Schools, prisons, whatever you can imagine as an electrical engineer after the storm.
You was busy.
We were busy, man. We were busy. We had a great time.
And you use that time not just to focus on the professional aspect, but to the community piece.
Absolutely, because as a pastor, we also work real hard to get people back home. There's an initiative that we work with called the Home Again Initiative. And there were a lot of single mothers, a lot of young men who needed a way back home. And I worked real hard with a team of people to get them back home. Also as a pastor, there were a lot of pastors in the 9th Ward that lost their churches. So I opened my doors on the West Bank of New Orleans and allowed them to use that time to come on and fellowship with us, have church, and then I would come in after and do my church service, and we would work in the community, continue to work in the community, man. So we've been having a great time, helping the community.
The silver lining of Katrina.
Yeah, both. Working in the corporate world and also working in the religious world along with the civic world to make sure that all groups come together and make sure everybody gets back home.
All right, good stuff. Let's ask you a couple more questions in that regard. Now, you with your business acumen understand that a large part of our audience out there is very concerned about fairness and equity, particularly around in the business sector, around contracting opportunities, and in the private sector around finding good jobs.
Yeah.
Talk to us about Corey Watson as a council person. What are the initiatives or things that you'll stand behind for fairness?
Well, right now we have some things already in place.
All right.
We know we have to have 35% DBE contracts, and also we have to make sure that 50% of the contracts are going to locals.
That's right.
I stand behind that, and what we have to do
Should that be changed either way? Should it be up? Should it be?
I think it should increase. However, we have to start somewhere, and right now we're not even meeting that.
Right.
And so what I think we need to do is make sure that we fund the office that enforces the 35% and the 50%.
The IG.
Yes. Well, whatever office enforces.
Or economic development.
Yeah, I think it's economic development, not the IG office.
Okay.
Because because we got to make sure that we get everybody the opportunity that they want. I mean, people like you and I started a business called W Electric LLC right in 2005. I was working hard to get the 35% DBE participation. I couldn't get it. No one would enforce the rules. So in my office, I would work really hard to ensure that that happens. I'm a minority myself, so I understand the plight of those who are like you in business, want to make sure that it happens now, but not only happens now, let's increase it so everybody gets a part of the pie.
Let's talk about one aspect now. Our audience represents about 80% directly to our email list, 85% African American, but we know in the social networks that are watching this, it represents all of New Orleans, and you as city council person will represent all of New Orleans. Talk about fairness to all people that you would represent.
Well, you know, it's very important that every culture has an opportunity, every race has an opportunity, and we help support those who don't have a voice. That's where I'm right now. There are many people who are really needing a council person to stand up and say, hey, this person really needs a chance. This person needs an opportunity, particularly those who are here in the city. We have millions of dollars locked up, $400 million locked up in the government that we need to get to the streets of the locals, the DBEs. But right now what's happening is it's locked up in, particularly in District B, we have a council person that's arguing all the time, that's fussing all the time, and we can't get the money to the streets because there's always this personal thing that's going on. People need leadership when they need it most, and right now we're suffering economically. A lot of New Orleanians are not making the money that they think they should make, should make in this recovery, and I want to streamline government. I want to work with coalitions. That's what I'm really about. As an engineer, I'm a problem solver. I know how to work with people, you understand? I've worked with architects, I've worked with an engineer team. I know how to work with my client, and we know how to meet benchmarks. And that's why you see things happening. For example, I worked on City Park to get City Park back up and running. Now my children can go over and play at City Park. You understand? But if I was fighting all the time with my team, it would never happen.
Talk to me a little bit about, and you kind of hit on it, but a little bit about your leadership style, and then also about specific to well, let's talk about your leadership style first. So give me just a little bit about what it means for you to be city council person.
My leadership style is this way, Anthony, and that is that we hear the voice of the people we're serving. We are servants, public servants. So I have to hear from the community what's going on in the community, going to those neighborhood meetings, listening and sitting and continue to answer and dialogue with them. Also continuing to find ways to solve their problems. Not only solving their problems from the perspective of how I see it, but what do they want, so they can be proud of their own communities and excited about their communities. So I'm going to be a listener. I'm also going to be a person who's going to make the tough decisions when I need to make the tough decisions. Of course, any leader, I know this being a pastor and an engineer, that everybody won't be pleased with every decision. But my goal is that every community, every neighborhood, every race gets an opportunity to get all that they believe they should get out of this city, be it economically. We love our food, we love the saints. Whatever I can do to make sure that the quality of life and economic development is happening in every neighborhood, that's what I'm going to be working on.
Without endorsing a candidate in 10 seconds, tell me what kind of mayor must you have to work with? What are the traits?
Well, one who's creative, one who really decides that he wants to see New Orleans have every community and every neighborhood come back. True diversity. That's what I'm going to be working with in terms of that mayor.
Well, Mr. Watson, this has been an incredible opportunity to get to know you better. If you would, please remind folks of who you are. Make sure you say your ballot number, and we'll close out.
I'm Corey Watson. I'm running for City Council, District B. I'm number 45 on the ballot. I need your vote. I need your support. Go to my website, www.corywatson.net, and I know that you're going to be proud of what I'm going to do as a City Council person. Building coalitions, not controversy.